She didn't ask for much, just a small room, a warm meal, a place to grow old with dignity. He said yes. He even cried when he said it. That was 3 years ago. Last Tuesday, he changed the locks while she was at the grocery store. Eleanor was 71 years old. She had no savings left, no house to go back to. She had given both to her son. And now she was standing on his doorstep in the rain, a stranger. To understand how Eleanor ended up on that doorstep, we have to go back 40 years. She was 29 when her husband died. No warning, no goodbye, just a phone call on a Wednesday afternoon that split her life into before and after. She was left with an old house, a stack of unpaid bills, and a 7-year-old boy named David who still believed his father was coming home. She didn't allow herself to fall apart. She took 2 jobs, mornings at a bakery, nights cleaning offices. Her hands cracked in winter. Her feet ached every single day. But every night, before she closed her eyes, she looked at David's sleeping face and thought, "This is enough. He is enough." She whispered the same thing to him every morning before school. "As long as I'm breathing, you will never go without." David grew up, and Eleanor watched with quiet pride as the boy she had sacrificed everything for became a man. He was educated, ambitious, well-dressed, everything she had worked for. Then he met Chloe. Chloe came from money, old money, the kind of family where nobody talked about bills because bills simply weren't a problem. David wanted to impress her family. He needed a house, a big modern house with a double garage and a garden, the kind of house that said, "I belong here." There was just one problem. He couldn't afford the down payment. She didn't hesitate for long. The house she had lived in for 31 years. The house where David learned to walk, where he lost his first tooth, where she had kept every birthday card he ever made her. She sold it. Every penny went to his down payment. "I'll put all the money into your down payment, David," she told him. "I will move into the small guest room in your new house. We will be one big, happy family." David hugged her tight, tears in his eyes, promising she would never want for anything. Eleanor believed him. That was her second mistake. The first was raising a man she never truly knew. The guest room was small, but Eleanor told herself it didn't matter. She had her son. She had a roof over her head. That was enough. For the first few weeks, everything seemed fine. Then, slowly, things began to change. It started with small things, the kind of things you almost miss if you're not paying attention. Her favorite chair disappeared from the living room. "We're redecorating," Chloe said with a smile. Her name was removed from the grocery list. "We're watching the budget," David told her, not meeting her eyes. The Wi-Fi password was changed. Nobody told Eleanor. And when she knocked on David's office door to ask, she heard Chloe's voice through the wall. "Just ignore her. She'll figure it out." Mealtimes became the clearest sign. Chloe cooked for 4, herself, David, and their 2 dogs. Eleanor was expected to make her own meals, with her own groceries, which she now had to buy herself on her fixed pension. She said nothing. She didn't want to cause trouble. But one evening, she heard David and Chloe talking in the hallway. "She's always just here," Chloe said. "In the kitchen, in the living room, everywhere I turn." She has nowhere else to go, David replied. There was a pause. That's not really our problem, is it? Chloe said. And David said nothing. That silence, that single, cowardly silence, broke something in Eleanor that she knew would never fully heal. She started calling the room the cell, not out loud, just in her head. 6 feet by 8 feet, a single window that faced the neighbor's brick wall. She used to own a house with a garden, with a porch where she drank her morning coffee and watched the sun come up. Now she drank instant coffee, alone, at 5 in the morning, before anyone else woke up, because those were the only hours the kitchen felt like it belonged to her. One morning, she found a note on the refrigerator. Chloe's handwriting, neat, polite, devastating. Eleanor, we've been thinking. It might be healthier for everyone if we explored other living arrangements for you. No rush, but let's talk soon. No rush. Eleanor read the note 3 times. Then she folded it carefully, put it in her pocket, and went back to her room. She sat on the edge of her bed, and she did something she hadn't done since her husband died. She cried. Not quietly, not politely. She cried the way you cry when you finally understand that the person you loved most in this world, the person you gave everything to, sees you as a problem to be solved. Eleanor was 71 years old. She had buried a husband, raised a son alone, worked 2 jobs for 15 years, and sold the only home she had ever loved. She was not, by any definition, a weak woman. And somewhere beneath the grief, beneath the humiliation of that note on the refrigerator, something old woke up inside her. Not anger, something quieter than anger. Clarity. She picked up a pen and she started writing. The letter was to her late husband's brother, Uncle Raymond. Eleanor hadn't spoken to Raymond in almost 8 years, not because of any falling out, simply because life had gotten in the way. Raymond was the only person left in the world who had known her husband, who had known the Eleanor she used to be, before the grief, before the sacrifice, before the guest room. She wrote him 6 pages. She told him everything. Raymond called her the same evening. He listened for 40 minutes without interrupting. When she finished, there was a long silence. Then he said, "Eleanor, I need you to do something for me. I need you to call a lawyer tomorrow morning. Can you do that?" She said she could. What Eleanor didn't know, what she couldn't have known, was that Raymond had been carrying a secret for nearly a decade. A secret that was about to change everything. Raymond told her the truth. Her husband, the man who died at 32 with unpaid bills and a 7-year-old son, had not died with nothing. His father, Eleanor's father-in-law, had passed away 6 months before the accident, and in his will, he had left a small farmhouse in Vermont to his son. But Eleanor's husband never had time to process the inheritance. And when he died, so suddenly, so completely, the paperwork fell through the cracks. Raymond had spent years trying to untangle it, legal fees, disputes, dead ends. He had never told Eleanor because he hadn't wanted to give her hope that might come to nothing. But now, after nearly a decade, the legal battle was over. The farmhouse was hers, not David's, hers. 3 acres of land, a house that needed work, but a house, a real house, with a porch and a garden. Eleanor sat in the lawyer's office and stared at the deed with her name on it. She didn't cry. She simply said, very quietly, He always kept his promises, even from the other side. She didn't tell David she was leaving. She didn't leave a note. She simply packed her suitcase, the same one she had arrived with, made herself one last cup of instant coffee in the kitchen at 5 in the morning, and walked out the front door. The morning was cold and still. She stood on the porch that had never truly felt like hers, and breathed in the air. Then she called a taxi, and she didn't look back, not once. David noticed she was gone at 8 in the morning. He called her phone. It rang from her empty room. She had left it behind on purpose. A clean break. No calls, no explanations, no begging. He called Raymond instead. "Where is she?" David asked. "Safe," Raymond said. "What does that mean? Where has she gone? What's happening?" Raymond was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "David, do you remember the last thing your mother said to you before she signed over her house?" Silence. "She said you would be one big, happy family. Do you remember that?" More silence. "She kept her word, David. The question is, did you keep yours?" He hung up. David stood in his kitchen for a long time after that, staring at the refrigerator, at the spot where Chloe's note used to be. 3 months later, Eleanor was sitting on her own porch. Real coffee this time, not instant. The farmhouse needed work, the roof, the floors, the plumbing. Raymond had helped with the costs. Neighbors she had never met brought food when she moved in, because that's what people do in small towns in Vermont. She planted a small garden in October, too late in the season really, but she planted it anyway. Because next spring it would bloom, and she would be there to see it. David called twice. She didn't answer the first time. The second time, she did. He said he was sorry. She listened. She said, "I know, David." And then, "I forgive you, but I am not coming back." She said it the same way she had said everything her whole life, without drama, without cruelty, with the quiet certainty of a woman who had finally, after 71 years, come home. There is a kind of person who gives and gives and gives and asks for nothing in return. The world often mistakes that silence for weakness. It isn't. It's patience. Eleanor didn't win because she fought back. She won because she remembered who she was, before anyone told her she was a burden. And if you are watching this, and you have ever felt like a guest in your own family, know this: the door they closed on you was never the last door. Somewhere there is a porch with your name on it, and the coffee there is always warm. If Eleanor's story touched something in you, leave a comment below. Have you ever sacrificed everything for someone who didn't deserve it? Or do you know someone like Eleanor? Share this video with someone who needs to hear it today.